Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the first Indian leader to be conferred with the highest civilian award of Mauritius, says the island nation is part of India's family, to attend National Day celebrations today. Ukraine is ready to accept US proposal for initial 30-day ceasefire with Russia following talks with US and Saudi Arabia. Also agrees to negotiations with Russia as US lifts freeze on military aid. US markets in turmoil as ambiguity remains about the tariffs. US and Canada trade angry warnings as 25% levy set to come to play by midnight. Trump halts plans for 50% tariffs after talks with Canada. Pakistani forces claim to rescue over 100 people after Baloch separatists blow a railway track and take 450 hostages, including Pakistani army personnel. Siege continues. Voting ends in Greenland election dominated by Trump's control pledge. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day visit to Mauritius, where he was awarded the country's topmost civilian honour. During an event, Prime Minister Modi announced the issuance of Overseas Citizen of India cards to the Mauritian diaspora. The decision marked India's commitment to the diaspora and bilateral relations with Mauritius.
A grand evening at the Trianon Convention Centre in Mauritius turned even more special as Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended a cultural event celebrating the deep-rooted ties between India and Mauritius. The highlight of the evening, Mauritius conferring its highest civilian honour, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, upon India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. With this, PM Modi is the first Indian to receive this prestigious award, joining a select group of global leaders, including Nelson Mandela.
I should also announce to everybody here today that I've asked the President of the Republic to award to you, Sri Modi, the highest award that we have, Grand Commander of the Order of the Star. Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, very fitting for you, Prime Minister.
Humbly accepting the honour, PM Modi dedicated the award to the Indian diaspora in Mauritius.
ये भारत और मॉरिशस के ऐतिहासिक रिश्तों का सम्मान है। ये उन भारतीयों का सम्मान है जिन्होंने पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी इस धरती की खूब सेवा की।
In a symbolic gesture of shared heritage, PM Modi handed over the Overseas Citizen of India cards, or the OCI cards, to PM Naveen Ram Ghulam and his spouse Veena Ram Ghulam. Notably, OCI eligibility has now been extended to the seventh generation of the Indian diaspora. Addressing the gathering, PM Modi emphasized the unwavering bilateral ties and described Mauritius as mini India.
For us, Mauritius is family. This bond is deep and strong, rooted in history, heritage, and the human spirit. Mauritius is also a bridge connecting India to the wider global south.
Strengthening the bond further, PM Modi reaffirmed India's commitments to Mauritius's development, highlighting key collaborative projects in infrastructure, healthcare, and digital transformation.
Mauritius, with large ocean territories, needs to secure its resources from illegal fishing. piracy and crimes. As a trusted and reliable friend, India works with Mauritius to protect your national interests and secure the Indian Ocean region.
PM Modi's message was clear. India and Mauritius are not just partners, but family, bound by history, culture, and a shared vision for the future. With India playing a key role in Mauritius's growth through developmental projects, trade, and capacity building initiatives, the relationship stands as a model of deep mutual trust and cooperation. With Akshay Dongre, Bureau Report, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also attended a banquet hosted by his Mauritian counterpart, Naveen Ramgoolam. Prime Minister Modi said that the partnership between India and Mauritius is not just limited to historical ties, but is also based on shared values and trust. He added that the two countries have always stood by each other like a family in challenging times. Ganga Talao, also known as Grand Basin, is revered as Mauritius' most significant Hindu pilgrimage site. It symbolizes the Ganges River of India. The holy waters of Ganga Talao were infused with water from the Ganges River in 1972. The lake is surrounded by temples dedicated to Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesh and Lord Hanuman. The Shiva temple at Ganga Talao is believed to be the 13th Jyotirling, also known as Mauritius Eswanath Jyotirling, along to local legend, and it was established in 1897 by Pandit Jhumon Giri. During the visit of India's President Draupadi Murmu to Mauritius in 2024, it was announced that the Government of India will support the redevelopment of the Ganga Talao complex into a religious, cultural and tourist hub. DD India's correspondent Akshay Dongre spoke with the trustee and caretaker of the sacred lake in Mauritius on the significance of the Ganga Talao.
We are currently at Ganga Talao in Mauritius, one of the most revered spiritual and religious sites. And to talk about how this place is significant, we also have Mr. Satish Dayal with us. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. There is a lot of interest as far as the Ganga Talao is concerned. Many people also consider the temple here as the 13th Jyotirlinga as well in India too. So as the Prime Minister is arriving here in Mauritius, there is a lot of interest as far as India is concerned and in the world as well that these kind of places exist in Mauritius. So can you tell us about the significance of this Ganga Talao?
The Ganga Talao is a very important place, a spiritually revered place as you mentioned it. It is a Tirthistan, a place of pilgrimage too. And recently it has been declared as a heritage, a spiritual heritage too. For the Hindu, it is a great symbol.
Right.
It is a great symbol because Ganga Talao is a sacred lake. In spite of being a sacred lake, it's a volcanic lake too. And it is a natural lake.
Right.
For Hindu, it is a great symbolism, this lake itself. The two things at Ganga Talao is very important. One is the lake itself. Secondly, the world 13th Jyotirlinga is here. The 12th Jyotirlinga in India, it is the only one which is outside India. And it is considered as the main temple of the country. And very often we used to experience miraculous happenings. And the temple is very, very famous all throughout the world.
You heard all the significance of this Ganga Talao and like Mr. Dayal has explained to us in so many words that how special and pious this lake is and how Mauritius is perhaps the only country outside India that has a Jyotirlinga as well. With camera person Ajit Kumar, I'm Akshay Dongre, DD India.
All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us from Port Louis. Akshay, good morning. Now, we've shown a detailed report to our viewers telling us about Prime Minister's Day 1 in Mauritius and how he was welcomed with a grand banquet hosted by Prime Minister Ramgoolam. Get us more, how is Prime Minister's Day 2 planned in Mauritius?
Well, Preeti, good morning from Mauritius, and though it's quite an early morning here, but as far as the preparation for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Day 2 is concerned, everyone is geared up as far as the events that are planned up for the rest of the day. In fact, early in the morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi who has been invited for a meeting by the Deputy Prime Minister. PM will be calling upon the Deputy Prime Minister of the country, following which there are high-level engagements planned with the top leadership of the country, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the Indian delegation will be meeting their Mauritian counterparts, and there are going to be signing of the MOUs as far as agreements are concerned between both the countries, following which Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating the Civil Services College here in Mauritius, and then there is going to be other engagements that include the participation of the Prime Minister in the National Day of Mauritius, the Independence Day of Mauritius as well, where he is going to be the chief guest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, again, I showed in the report before this, will be going to this sacred and revered lake where, as Professor announced yesterday, he will also be infusing the lake with the waters from the sacred Sangam, the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati in India. And this water was brought in by Prime Minister during the Kumbh Mela, and this water now will be infused with the Ganga Talao, further enhancing the significance of this revered Hindu site. So there are engagements planned and throughout the day before Prime Minister Narendra Modi leaves for New Delhi back again. That will be around 3 p.m. local time here in Mauritius. So as far as the engagements are concerned, it has a mix of both Prime Minister Narendra Modi's participation here for the special occasion, the Independence Day of Mauritius, and also the high-level bilateral engagements that is going to see a lot of signing off and exchanging of the memorandums of understanding in various aspects of development between the two countries, along with the effort that has been consistently being made by the Indian and the Mauritian side to strengthen the relations between the two
All right,
countries.
Akshay, that was about Prime Minister's engagements and also the bilateral talks that will be held today. But talking of the relationship between India and Mauritius, the diplomatic relationship was established in 1948 and it's been more than 75 years of relationship. Help us understand how has the relationship between the two countries evolved, because both the sides are talking of strengthening the relationship further. Help us also throw light on the various sectors, various issues of interest for both the countries that would give scope to this relationship to be further strengthened.
Well, both the countries have had a traditional relationship as far as India and Mauritius are concerned, but now, given the rapidly changing geopolitical landscape, the growing need for both the countries to come together to provide net security to the Indian Ocean region, both the countries are expected to take their relationships to a next level to further strengthen the ties two countries by making this relationship not just a traditional one but a strategic one as well, which means that the interest of Mauritians will be kept in mind as far as the Indian government and Indian authorities are concerned, and same goes for the Mauritian authorities and government as well, as far as the security is concerned of the region, be it the Sagar initiative, the Vision Sagar that has been talked about and emphasized by Prime Minister Narendra Modi as far as the commitment by both the sides to provide security and freedom of movement and freedom of trade in this very important part of the world. So the relationship which started in 1948, as you rightly mentioned, when India established diplomatic ties with Mauritius, even before Mauritius gained independence. It has been consistently being strengthened by previous governments, and now in the last 10 years we are seeing an unprecedented push as far as fostering and strengthening the ties between the two countries, be it in cultural sector, economic sector, the military sector, every aspect of life is somewhat dependent on each other as far as growth and culture is concerned, and perhaps that's the reason why President Narendra Modi also made special mention of Mauritius as far as India's foreign policy and Sagar vision is concerned.
All right, Akshay, thank you for joining in with those details. So that was our correspondent Akshay joining us from Mauritius, telling us about Prime Minister's Day today. The Prime Minister is on a 2-day state visit to Mauritius, and today he will be attending the National Day celebrations of Mauritius, and he will also be holding bilateral talks with the leadership of Mauritius. We'll keep you updated. Up next, we're heading for a short break. You're watching DD India Live. But after we return, we'll tell you Colombian President Gustavo Petro favors a national referendum to gain support for his health and labor reforms. Collision between a Portuguese cargo ship and a US oil tanker in the North Sea leads to damages and a criminal investigation. Talks between Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 armed group to take place soon. Stay with us for more details.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. On day 2 of the second part of the budget session of the Indian Parliament, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reaffirmed the government's commitment to give full financial support for Manipur's economic development. Presenting Manipur budget in the lower house, she highlighted that the overall law and order situation in the state has improved significantly, barring a few sporadic incidents. In Lok Sabha, supplementary demands for grants Manipur for 2024-25 and second supplementary demands for grants 2024-25 were also passed. In Rajya Sabha, discussion on working of Ministry of Education was concluded with the Education Minister's response. Now we get to updates in the sensational train hijacking in Pakistan. Pakistani troops have claimed to rescue over 100 people after Baloch separatists blew railway track and took 450 hostages, including Pakistani army personnel. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has condemned the attack, saying security officials were repelling the separatists. As negotiations and rescue efforts continue, the Pakistani government faces immense pressure to secure the release of the hostages while preventing further violence. The Jafar Express had been on its way from Balochistan's capital Quetta to the city of Peshawar in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa when it was fired at and separatists took control. Greenland voted on Tuesday in legislative elections that could yield a timeline for independence for the Danish self-governing territory coveted by US President Donald Trump, possibly signaling a Trump effect. Turnout was higher than usual. First results were expected in few hours. Trump, who has said that he is determined to get the vast Arctic island one way or the other, tried until the last minute to influence the vote, sparking astonishment, rejection, and to a small degree, enthusiasm among the 57,000 Greenlanders, most of whom favor independence. The lead up to the election to choose the 31-seat parliament was mostly marked by debates on healthcare, education, and future ties with Denmark, which still controls the island's foreign, defense, and monetary policy. Shifting focus to US-Ukraine talks in Jeddah now. In a significant development, Ukraine has agreed to accept a US proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire and to take steps towards restoring a durable peace, according to a joint US-Ukraine statement on Tuesday. The statement further said that the two sides in Saudi Arabia also agreed to conclude as soon as possible a comprehensive agreement for developing Ukraine's critical mineral resource.
It is indeed written there that Ukraine is ready to accept, if Russia agrees to it, to introduce a 30-day ceasefire as the first step in order to start preparing some more important document to prepare for negotiations.
Following constructive talks, Ukrainian presidential officials said that the United States has agreed to resume military and intelligence sharing with Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed the 30-day ceasefire proposal agreed at the Ukraine-US meeting in Saudi Arabia. Zelensky said that a ceasefire was a positive proposal that covers the front line in the conflict, not just fighting by air and the sea.
Сьогодні в розмові була пропозиція.
During today's talks, the American side proposed taking a first step forward, establishing a full ceasefire for 30 days. Not just stopping missiles, drones and bombs, not just ensuring security in the Black Sea, but implementing a complete ceasefire along the entire front line. Ukraine welcomes this proposal. We see it as a positive proposal and are ready to take this step.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that he would now take the offer to the Russians and that the ball is now in Moscow's court. Ukraine's decision to accept the US ceasefire proposal was welcomed by the leaders. European Council President Antonio Costa and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, in simultaneous statements on microblogging site X, said that this is a positive development that can be a step towards a comprehensive, just and lasting peace for Ukraine, highlighting that the ball is now in Russia's court. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk also said that it seemed there had been an important step towards peace in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. Colombian President Gustavo Petro decided to call a national referendum so that voters can weigh in on his embattled health and labor reforms amid a lack of support for the proposals in the country's legislature. The president did not immediately specify whether the reforms would be withdrawn from Congress, where he had struggled to push through the bills, which he says are necessary to fight deep inequality and lower poverty. Now, the long-stalled reforms to the health sector aims to strip power from from insurers and expand the access to healthcare, while the labor reform would reduce working hours and boost overtime pay. Petro's decision came hours after 8 members of a 14-member Senate committee announced that they would present a proposal to reject the government's proposed labor reform for a second time. Colombia's newly appointed defense minister said on Tuesday that he will focus on taking back territory lost to rebel groups that have forced thousands to flee their homes this year. Pedro Arnulfo Sanchez is sworn in by President Gustavo Petro during a military ceremony in Bogota. In an address to the nation's troops, Pedro Sanchez said that it was time for Colombia's military to strengthen national and sovereignty and protect the nation's population. The retired general hinted that Colombia's military, which has been recently asked to refrain from attacking rebel groups by the nation's government, will now take a more offensive role. The captain of a cargo ship has been arrested after it collided with an oil tanker in the North Sea. The Portuguese-flagged Solong and the US-registered tanker Stena Immaculate crashed off the East Yorkshire coast on Monday. UK police said that the 59-year-old man had been arrested on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter following searches for a missing crew member of the Solong. Smoke is continuing to billow from the Solong, but Transport Secretary Hedy Alexander said that both ships were expected to remain afloat. A criminal investigation has begun into the cause of the collision. And now we get to the latest on what is going on in the continent of Africa. Talks between Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 armed group that has captured swaths of the Central African country's volatile east will take place in Luanda soon. Angola would attempt to broker direct talks between Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda-backed M23 rebels in the coming days. Peace talks have stalled over Congo President Felix Tshisekedi's repeated refusal to engage in the dialogue with M23, which, backed by Rwandan troops, has carried out a lightning offensive in eastern DRC. The U-turn comes after Tshisekedi met Angolan counterpart Joao Lourenço on Tuesday to discuss the conflict. Since January, the two major cities of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, Goma and Bukavu, have fallen into the hands of the M23 group, which took up arms again in 2021. US President Donald Trump defended his tariff policies on Tuesday, addressing the top US CEOs at Business Roundtable in Washington, with market giants like Apple and JP Morgan Chase facing sharp declines. Trump reassured business leaders that his escalating tariffs, despite rattling global markets, will yield long-term economic gains. His administration has aggressively imposed and delayed levies, aiming to rebalance trade, boost American jobs, and curb illegal drug imports. US President Donald Trump has halted a plan to double US tariffs on Canadian steel and metal imports to 50% just hours after first threatening them. Tariffs of 25% are still going ahead and will take effect from today. Trump says he would probably reconsider the decision to double planned steel and aluminum tariffs on imports from Canada hours after announcing the sharp hike. Faced with Trump's 50% tariff threat, Ford agreed to suspend the surcharge and meet with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick in Washington on Thursday. Ontario agreed to suspend its 25% surcharge on electricity exports to Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. Sports updates now. India's HS Pranoy bowed out of the All England Open Badminton Championship after losing to Thomas Junior Popov of France in Birmingham on Tuesday. Pranoy suffered a straight game defeat, going down 19-21, 16-21 to Popov. Also, the 32-year-old had his chances in the opening game, but faltered in the face of the relentless pressure by Popov. The French player proved too strong and secured the victory. With that, we end this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR code. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.